Okay, we're going to have a bit of fun and see if I can do this without making a mistake, because I'm no good at editing videos. We're going to have a go at making this card, which I made in a class last week. You're going to need a few items if you want to have a go at this. So you need to start off with 2 of Tim Holtz Distress ink pads, Fired Brick and Aged Mahogany. You also need the Versamark ink pad, a heat gun. I'm using the penny black stamp, which is Pine Silhouettes, which is from this year's Christmas collection. Clear embossing powder, detailed embossing powder is better. Glue dots, the Tim Holtz blending tool and sponge, a Krylon pen in pale gold, a piece of green ribbon. I'm using a black card, which is the base of our card, which measures 4.5 inches by 8 inches. It's a normal piece of plain black card. A piece of striped paper, which is from the Chatterbox range, which is a green stripe 6 inches by 4 inches. And a piece of the diamond paper, which is 7 gypsies, which measures 5.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and that's the basis of our card. I've also used a luggage tag. Now these are the standard size that you buy in a stationer's, no special finish, and all I've done is I've taken the surround off, the sticky bit that goes around the hole on the tag, so that we've got a whole tag to stamp on. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using the pine stamp, is to stamp this up with Versamark ink pad. I'm only going to be using the edge of the stamp. I'm not actually going to be using the whole stamp. So just ink up the edges and then just put your Versamark on the edges of the tag. Make sure you press firmly. You won't be able to see too much of this. Unfortunately, my Versamark is not a clean one. It's well used and well loved. You go all around the edges, making sure you're leaving a gap in the middle. And again down the bottom. So now we've gone all the way around the edges of the tag. You can put your Versamark and the stamp away now, because we've finished with those. And then what you need to do is get a piece of paper, stand your tag on it, and then open your clear embossing powder and use that over the stamped image, like so. You don't have to be sparing with this, because you're going to put it all back into the pot. Give it a nice tap on the back to make sure that you get rid of all the excess powder. And I can see I've got a little spot in the middle, so we need to get rid of that. And then you would put your powder back into your pot and get your tag. Put this on a heat-proof surface. I'm going to hold it for the camera, but I'll just turn this on now and do this briefly. Okay, so if you look carefully, and you can't see it very well, you can just see the shine of the embossing powder now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is get our blending tool and our distress ink, starting with Fired Brick and using a heat resistant pad on the back. This piece of cloth here is designed so that you can wipe it off, so you don't have to worry about stains. When you're using these, it's best not to start on the project but to start away from it, otherwise you'll find yourself getting lines from the side of the blender. So if you start on the outside and move in a circular motion over the embossing powder, just around the edges, like so. That's quite red. It's not the colour that I want, so I'm now going to go on to aged mahogany, make it slightly darker around the edges. You can blend this as much as you want to get the image that you want on your tag, but obviously the more ink you put on, the better the pine leaves will show through. And you notice that I'm keeping away from the middle, just to give it a little bit of a colour, but not too much. Okay, it's all around the edges. Okay, and you can see where the embossing powder has been, but you can still see the pine leaves. That's a little bit more over here and over here, just so you can see where they are. Okay, now once you've done that, you need to tie a bow through the tag. So what we do is put the bow through here, double the ribbon up, put it through the hole, bring the ends through, very like the string that you've just taken off, and then with a nice bit to start with here, you can do your bow. Tie it off till you get it how you want it to be. I always like on a tag, the threads of my bow to go upwards. Okay, never perfect when you're doing it on camera, but sufficient for now. And then what we're going to do is take our triangle piece of paper and get that ready here. And before we put it down, we need to trim the ribbon with a pair of scissors and stick it onto our piece of card. So if you watch the next video, you'll see me finish the card off.